And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to do some trading. We're going to be going to the Bazaar and trying to trade some goods to get some other goods to, hey, try to complete some merchant cards. We're looking at Bazaar, a Sid Sackson game from Griffin Games. You've probably seen me do a lot of Sid Sackson reviews. I've been on a Sid Sackson kick for good reason. Does this one live up to all the rest of the ones that I've been loving so much? It takes 30 to 45 minutes, plays 2 to 6 players. Let's take a look and I'll show you how it's played, and I'll see you on the other side. I first want to show off the nice insert that is made here for Griffin Games. That you come to know these guys for great quality, good inserts, functional inserts. Here you have the the player aids. Here you have the exchange cards. Here you have the in a nice little net all the gems. Here you have a nice spot for the cards. Here you have a nice exact spot for the dice. They just go over and beyond to make sure that the inserts that they do are not only functional, but they're very nice and neat. I also want you to notice the quality of the stones that are used here. They're very heavy, they feel great in your hand. The colors look nice, they're shiny. Great components here with the different colored stones. If I take some of these and drop them, you can hear the clunking they do. They're heavy and they're nice. Now when the game's set up, we have all the stones here. We have 2 exchange tiles that we've got set up. The game comes with 10 of them that you randomly select 2 of them to be in the game, so the games are going to be different every time. We have tile number 1 and 9 here. We also set up the market with 4 what they call wares, W-A-R-E-S. 4 of these, they have 5 cards in them each, and of course there's a huge stack of these cards that come with the game, so all this is going to be pretty much different every time that you play the game. And we have a player aid. What you are trying to do in this game is fulfill the orders on any one of these 4 markets here, and when you do so you get to take the card and you will score. Let's talk about how a turn works. On your first turn of the game, you roll this die, and whatever color this is, that's what color stone you get, unless you get the genie lamp and then you can pick. Every subsequent turn after the first round, you can either roll the die like that, or you have a second choice, which is trade at these markets. So here we see, let's say the first time I had rolled, I had gotten a red. So on my second turn, I could take this red and use it to trade in the red to get a green and a blue, or I could trade in the red and get a white and a white. Now the trades go backwards as well on the card, so let's just say I had a blue and a green. I could basically go, okay, I'm going to trade in a blue and green, I'm going to take a red, and then these kind of go back to the pile there, and we now have the red here. So on your turn you're either trading or rolling the die, basically gathering. After you've done that, you can, if you want, trade in your stones for one of the cards. So let's say in my entire population, I had 2 yellows, 2 reds, this is sort of an extra, and 2 whites, and that's all I had. I would fulfill this card, but I would have 1 extra jewel in my sort of my repository. So let's take a look at how that scores. If, for example, I have 1 stone left, and it's just a regular card, it doesn't have stars on it, I would get 3 points. If I had 3 or more extra gems in my collection, it would only be worth 1 point. And if I can do it exactly and have nothing left afterwards, it's 5 points. So you're trying to get these cards by trading in your stones, but you're trying to do it as efficiently as possible, getting no change. You'll see that some of these cards have 1 star. So for example, if we had completed this and we had 1 extra, we would get 5 points, all the way up to 8 if it's perfect, and down to 2. And there's some 2 stars. Once one of these cards is taken, that person has the car, and we flip over the next one. Now, as soon as one of these 4 wares are gone, now all the ones that don't have a star are worth a star, and all the ones that are worth 1 star is worth 2 stars. So towards the end of the game, if you did this one and did it perfectly, that's a whopping 12 points, which is a lot in this game. And so that's what you're trying to do, and this will continue on turn by turn until any 2 of those wares are gone, then the game ends, and whoever has the most points wins, and you keep track of points on a piece of paper with a pen. And as you can see with these 2 markets, sometimes you'll be trading one stone to get a bunch to try to move up, or sometimes you might be trading all these things to get back down to try to get less change. And it's this interesting mix of balance between having the right gems, too many gems, not enough gems, and just trying to get these stones, if you will, to be exactly efficient when you're turning them in for the market. All right, well, there is Bazaar. Obviously, great components, great things that I showed you in the insert and things like that I showed in the video. Love those. Griffin Games is known for that. This is no different. Also, in the game itself, there's just something to be said about Sid Sackson games. It's like every one that you take out and you play, you know, one of my buddies, Greg, and I looked at each other and he looks at me and he goes, every one of Sid's games has a simple elegance to it. And I was like, that is like the perfect way of putting it. All of his games have this simple elegance where the rules are like 2 or 3 pages always. They're simple concepts, but they're meaty inside. They're just good enough for beginners, but yet there's deep strategy if you want to. And this game it falls in that line. It's easy to play, easy to teach in 5 minutes, but there's a lot to it. I like the replayability value of having the different markets. There's 10 different ones. Every game's gonna be different. All the cards, there's a big stack of cards, so there's a chance you're not gonna see a lot of those at the same time. You know, the catch-up mechanic where, you know, once that first market goes away, all those points pretty much go way up because everything's at least a 1-star card. I like that. So overall, I enjoyed the game. It's probably not my favorite Sid Sackson games. It's probably not one of my 2 or 3 favorite, but it's still good enough that it's going to stay in my collection because I like it. It's very puzzly. If you like puzzly type games, then this is probably for you. The only downside I'd say is for people that overthink turns and analysis paralysis or AP, if you play with people like that, this game will probably inhibit that more than normal. I'm usually not a player that has AP, but in this game I found myself a few times being completely paralyzed by not knowing what to do, and I really had to think through because there's so many choices. There's 4 different cards up there. I have some jewels, and then you look at the 2 markers like, oh, I could do this and then this and then this and get that, or I could do this and that and get that, and then do that and get that. But then you look at what your opponents have and maybe he's going for that. So there's a lot to think about. So just be aware that if you get this, that you may have some AP potential. But I like it still best with 2 players anyway. So, and that sort of brings it down. So anyway, Bazaar, it's a good, solid game from Sid Sackson and Griffin Games. If you like puzzly games, if you're on a Sid Sackson kick like me, gotta check out Bazaar. I love seeing these older games brought to new components and new standards.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.